go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kind Mind Community. And my name is Kelly Mabel. And for those of you who I haven't met, hello, Mark. We were just about to say hello to you. Where are
Hi.
you from? Where are you from, Mark?
I'm from Vancouver.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
Lovely. Well, lovely to meet you. So glad to hear you're part of the community and
yeah.
lovely to have you in the room at Kind Mind. So we have so
Sorry,
many.
Kelly. Mark is one of the original.
I can't wait to get to know you a little better. That's
He's part
amazing.
of the original. This in you said so.
Mark, we're going to connect if that sounds like a thing you might like to do. I would love to connect with you
Yeah,
as well.
it'd be great, Kelly.
Yeah. So we've been having some great conversation, and I have been so blessed that the team of Beyond Recovery and Beyond Truth are here today. And a few months ago, we had talked with Jacqueline Hollows, who is the founder of Beyond Recovery, and we were setting up a date. And today ended up being the day that the team could come. And I am so blessed because I've been following Jacqueline, Mama J, for a while now. And she's been working with the lovely Derrick Mason, and I'm going to say Wilson, but Omar BT Wilson, who are in the room. Yeah, everybody say hello. And
Hello.
yeah, say hello. They've been working very closely with each other in support of people, first offenders, and people that are in prisons, and supporting the three principles conversation. And when Jacqueline and when I first got to know Jacqueline was quite a while back, I started watching more of the speakers past the originals, if you will, so Elsie and Sid. And I was just really taken aback by some of the amazing work that Beyond Recovery was doing. And Beyond Recovery was founded in I had two dates, but I have 2013 by Jacqueline. And bringing the conversation of three principles into what was HMP. I'm not sure what that even stands for. HMP
Her
online.
Majesty's Prison.
Okay, HMP in which is a C category men's prison in North Hampshire, and doing work with people in the realm of a deeper understanding of how the mind, thought, and consciousness work. And Derrick and Omar are a direct result of that work that Jacqueline's been doing. And I don't want to take away any of the amazingness from all three of these people. So I'm going to let each one of them unfold their wisdom, their truth, and their story so that all of you can hear where they've come from, their experience, the strength that they found within themselves, and the hope that they're delivering in their lives now to others in the rooms that they're sharing this conversation with. So, who would like to begin? Jacqueline, would you like to start, or would you guys?
I don't mind. What do you want to do, guys?
Yeah.
So thank you, Kelly, so much for inviting us to be here and for arranging it so that we can all be here together. It's really special. We love to share together. And thank you, everybody who's here. It's really, really nice to see you all. So the community work that I started was in 2013, and then I started working in the prison system in 2015. And I myself, was lost for a long time, and lost emotionally and lost mentally, and had lots and lots of things going on in my life, trauma in my childhood. I've compensated for that in many ways. And I was blessed to find the principles and the work of Sid Banks. And although, many will know that I actually didn't like the work, didn't like the principles at first when I came across it. I was hit one day, hit by the insight stick, when I fell in love with the people who were suffering. And those people happened to be people who were in various states of addiction, had been in prison, and so on. And I just felt this enormous well of love for them, and knew that I wanted to work with them, even though I didn't know how to do that, or what to do, or what it meant, or how I pay my bills, or any of those things. And I remember the lovely Mark, when I stayed with him and Karen many years ago, and they said that I basically had followed the feeling, and I'm still following that feeling. And so for me, the people that I started working with actually taught me about my own inner peace. And they are the ones that helped me find the principles, because I kept seeing it in them. I kept seeing this amazingness and this resilience and this persistence and all these really juicy, good, valuable things that lived within the well of their beings. And very, very little would need to be done to really tap them on the shoulder and have them look in that place. And so, you know, since then, I've worked with many, many people in the criminal justice system, also professionals, people who work within prison systems, and other professionals now as well, and researched our work, and, you know, done all sorts of things. But I like to say that I consider myself to be a talent scout, because I go to the dark places and I uncover the gems that are there and the diamonds that are there, and then they shine themselves. And so it is true to say that, if you like, you use the expression that Derrick and Wilson are a product of the work. Well, they're really a product of the essence of life that flows through all of us, and the potential that flows through all of us. And I feel blessed to work with them. They're actually directors of Beyond Recovery now as well, and leaders in their own right. And I'm just glad that they hang around with me. So I'll leave it there as my introduction.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Um, I see that. Just love that you said talent scout. How beautiful is that? Looking for that beautiful spark within someone else. I just love that. So who'd like to share? Derrick and Wilson. Who'd like
Do you
to?
mind me go? I'll go next then, if you don't mind, Omar.
Beautiful.
All right. Hello everybody. I'm Derrick. Thanks for that intro as well, Kelly. It was beautiful. And then Mama J, you're as usual just thing. But what you were saying just drew me back to sort of like the feeling of everything, because like Kelly and Mama J said, I got this understanding when I was in prison and I was serving a 5-year sentence, and I didn't think my life needed to change. I wasn't looking for any major fixer-upper. I was just looking to carry on how I did my life previously, just make it the easiest possible way, live it the easiest possible way I can. So I went on the course, and as you say, I uncovered, or Mama J pointed me in a direction to uncover the light and the shut and my wisdom and my innate well-being that was in me. But if there was one thing that I'd say that I had been the main thing, it would be the feeling. When I got that feeling, and I didn't know what it would lead to, I didn't know what would become of it. I just knew that the way I felt that feeling, I just knew I had to follow that in any way it showed up. And like I said, at that time, I didn't know how it would show up. I didn't know, but that feeling that I got when I had my insight, and I was basically in prison, and a place that I've been in prison before, and all the politics and the things that go around, I don't like it in prison, but I still was prepared to do whatever I'd done on the off chance that I might get caught. And lo and behold, I got caught. But with the feeling that I was in there is my literal hell, I could feel the most freest I've ever felt in my life. And that sort of shifted me, it knocked me sideways sort of thing, to think, how can this be possible? I've been sitting on a beach. How can I feel freer now than when I'm sitting on a beach in a Caribbean island? And that was messing with my head. to know that that feeling is possible to me when I'm in there, then to come outside and to be in nature and to be around friends and around loved ones, I know that that feeling would only get stronger. And that's exactly what's happened. It's like the word love, which I was so afraid of before I found this understanding, I realized that there's so many different levels to it, that words like judgment, I have to lose it. And every time I lose a layer of judgment, I see a deeper version of love. And I know I've got judgments. I know I've still got judgments, and they're automatic and they're small and some of them are big. But every time I seem to drop a layer of judgment, I seem to find a deeper sense of love. And that points me to the true sense of love is with no judgment and it's just pure love. And that feeling that I first got when I was at my first insight has led me to see all this and to live this and try to live it and just speak from the heart and speak the truth. And yeah, I'll leave my intro there, and then Omar can come in.
Yeah, welcome, Omar Wilson. Thank you, Derrick. That was awesome. It's
Hey
nice
guys,
to know you guys.
thank you, Kelly. I got a sore throat, guys, so if you can't hear me, just let me know. I'm Omar Wilson. I came across Beyond Recovery in prison as well. And the main thing for me was creation. I really didn't know that I was the creator of my reality. So what I was living before and the area I grew up in and the things I saw, the things that was around me, the certain circumstances, I thought that shaped me to do what I had to do. I thought that limited me from doing things that I could have done or wanted to do, or peer pressure would tell me not to do. And I really didn't know I was the force behind that creation. Even being told I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, I didn't know I was in control of that. I thought that was something that was me, until I came across Beyond Recovery in prison. And it's like, I feel like Mama J pointed me to a door that I've seen many times, but I've never been through. And it's amazing because as I learned the principles or uncovered the principles, I've seen that it showed up many times in my life, many times. But with the power of my creation, I just skipped past it and just created what I thought was right and what I wanted to be right and what I thought was meant to be the basic living. So after coming across Beyond Recovery, I taught myself to read and write in prison, which was like the first step for me of exploring and experimenting with these principles. And it came back to that feeling. The reality I was creating before, it didn't feel good. But I realized peace of mind comes with simplicity. And all that creation is just a bit complicated. But when you simplifies it, it feels better. And I feel like that's the key element for me, that simplicity brings peace of mind. And I feel like that's what Beyond Recovery pointed me to. And since kind of gaining this understanding, it's that love and peace that I would love to push other people to, the same way I was shown, just shown a door. Because I feel like many people has experienced true wisdom and has experienced true peace of mind, but because of our thoughts and our experiences and our consciousness, sometimes we skip past them because they're not what we want them to be, if that makes sense. We feel they'll come in a certain way or a certain form, and that's just our thinking. And we skip past these things. But with the understanding, it's like my past is like a book of lessons where I can see wisdom in it, and I can see love, and I can see innocent mistakes, and I can see how I innocently create certain things. But I think that is the power of the principles.
Lovely, lovely way to begin this conversation. So, so Jacqueline, I want to ask you, you know, you made a decision to go into the prisons and create this experience. As an outsider looking in, my first thoughts is, how did you, I would say, rally or and even you, Derrick and Wilson can speak to this. How did they actually fall into wanting it? Like it's like there might be offers that are available to you, and here's this one. Mama J comes in, hey, here's I've got this one. How did you actually, you know, um, have them lean in? What was, other than we know the feeling was there, but there had to be this place where
Before that, yeah.
yeah.
Good coffee and biscuits.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And an excuse.
And smiles.
And smiles, yeah. And an excuse to get out of your cell for a couple of hours.
I love it.
And promise of DCAT.
So the thing is that that's why I encourage people that you really don't have to get people to lean in. You sort of meet them at their bus stop. And we just turned up. We were, there was a team of us. It wasn't just me. There was a team of us. We came with big loving hearts. We wanted to be there. We already loved them before we met them. So we all wanted to be there. And we didn't really know what we were doing. And we didn't really know that the tea and the coffee was the thing until, like suddenly we have a queue of people wanting to come into the room. But once they're in the room with the tea and the coffee, there's a feeling.
Yeah.
And then they want to come back. And then they're going, I don't really know what you're talking about, but I like that space. And people came back because of that. And we just turned up every week and did that. And then eventually, some people like Omar and Derrick got curious about, well, what is this? Why is this different? What is this? And, they had their own insights and they explored in their own ways, and all the other people too. But initially it's just, that's why, like we sometimes laugh and say, just turn up to the hood with an urn and a box of cakes. People will come, and then you just talk to them, and you're just there, and you're just loving, and people go, oh, that's nice, I'll do that again. And then they start to go, hang on, these people aren't asking me what I've done. They're not asking me to write anything down. They're not asking me, how do I want to change? They're not asking me the things that I normally get asked. Then, so what is going on here? And you have people then getting curious. And then when they're curious, that's when you get them.
We had a question in the chat about how did you get into the prison initially? Like there's places where, of course, there had to been, all sorts of checks and things. But really, how did you get the principals there and yourself there?
Yeah. I have to say there was a lot of serendipity. I had that insight in the park one day when I was on a recovery walk, and I found all these people that I fell in love with and decided I want to work with. And I did 2 years of community work, just turning up to places and giving talks and running groups and, serving where I could serve. And then somebody introduced me to somebody who was working in substance misuse in a prison, and I stalked him and I turned up to where he was, where I knew that he would be, and sort of said, oh, I'm that person. Could we have a meeting? And luckily he said yes. And get this, he listened to me, and then went, this sounds similar. And he'd read a book by Richard Carlson, who was, and so he'd read this Stop Stop Thinking, Start Living book by Richard Carlson. So he recognized what I was talking about. He thought that Sid Banks got it off Richard Carlson, but that's a different story. And I pitched to them, and I was terrible in the pitch. I didn't know, I literally didn't know. They kept saying, how do people change? But how do people change? And I kept saying, I don't know. I just have a conversation with them and they change. And he was married to a forensic psychologist, so he had a lot of questions. But he gave me a chance and said, well, let's run a pilot. Let's see how this goes. Let's run a pilot. And just as it happens, there was an underspend in the local authority, and there was a year's worth of contract available. So when I pitched for this pilot, I wrote a business case. And again, I'll say I didn't know how to write a business case. I just Googled it and asked him for some topics. And the commissioner at the time in Northamptonshire read it and had an insight and said, we need this in the prison system. And so he put it forward, and I went and pitched and I got in. So it's really hard because people want a step by step, and there isn't. And there a lot of serendipity. Mind was obviously at work there. To me, you just have to do what is in front of you and keep following that, and you get shown what to do next.
I love how you said keep following that. It's like there's a staying the way situation that the serendipitous also follows. As you were following and staying the way, with the, I see passion. I don't know what it was for you, but I see passion around doing that. Then it just kept unfolding as you stayed in that.
Yeah.
So Derrick and Wilson, what did you see as you took your coffee and your cookies and cakes into the room? And I have to say, what an absolutely brilliantly simple experience. And I say that because I was really thinking, like, how would you get somebody? Because let's be honest here, my experience of prison is from the outside in. I'm looking in from movies and from all the illusion of what it is, and I don't know anybody that has been there. So my thoughts are, here's Mama J going in. I don't. Mama J, had you been in prison? Ever been in prison? No. Maybe coming with similarities of myself, and it's like, okay, well, how are we going to do this? And it's like we've got this amazing understanding, but these people, I would think, are uninterested. So there you are, and I thought, what a simple, brilliant. I've got a cup of coffee and an amazing cake and cookie for you. Would you like that? Yeah, we would. Absolutely, we would. So there you were, and what happened? What was the experience that unfolded for you?
For me, going into the group, I'm not a cookies and coffee kind of guy, so I don't drink. But they bring it. I'm a herbal tea kind of guy, and then they brought in a few herbal teas. But I weren't really in it. I heard that it was a different kind of group. That no paperwork, no right or wrong answers. You could sleep if you want to, and it has the potential to fundamentally change your whole life. And that alone, my intellect's just buzzing now, saying, "Oh, I need to hear this. Let me hear what they're gonna say." And then I love the story every time you tell it, Mama J, about how your journey unfolded and where it all started from, and how you, not in an offensive way, how you basically managed to stumble and just come so short to having it all end, and then manage to rekindle it and then find your way in my path where the same thing what you just said, I'm living what you said, I'm just letting it unfold. And by you and your team letting it unfold in front of me, you sort of looked at me as a person that hadn't been seen for I was 47, hadn't been seen for 40 years. That innocent, just a child, I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you're going to say about what I'm going to say now if you object to it. I'm telling you that I can see through that. And I'm speaking to that person now. And that burst open the feeling of what the hell's going on here. I'm in prison. This is the last place I'm meant to come and have someone look at me like that. And like you said, Kelly, none of them had been to prison before. None of them had the story of, oh, my uncle was a lifer, or my uncle done this, and then that's why I'm here. No, I'm here because of my heart. And my heart is the same as your heart. And that's the only reason. There's no agenda. So then that showed me that, you know what, that feeling needs to be explored. It needs to be sat with. And because I like to intellectualize things. So in the first few groups, I weren't really seeing anything because I was trying to put labels on it, and it had to take some sort of form, and then I could get a formula on how it works and then sell it to the world because this thing really works. But there ain't no formula. It's just the minute you try to put a formula on it, that's when you're kind of breaking it down, because that'll be my formula. Everybody else's formula is bespoke to them. And when I sort of see that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter where I am. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I can show up any way I can. And I had a big issue growing up with myself being good enough in and around social circles, in and around my own social circles, outside of myself, just in and around people. I just didn't think I was good enough. So my mask was multifaceted and thick. So I'll turn up with a different scenario, a different mask for a different scenario. And I would never let my mask down in public, or certain people that I felt comfortable with, I would let my mask down. But this thing sort of showed me that that person behind that mask is, like I've said before, the most beautiful person I've ever had the pleasure to meet. And I met him before, but I've been trying to shove him into a little closet and lock him in and say, no, this fella's taking over. But I just what the thing showed me, that the person I built myself up to be, I could not destroy him, but I could just peel away at that slowly, day by day, with seeing something new and seeing something in a situation what I'd been in maybe 20 times and always done the same thing because there was no option. That was the only thing to do. And then now when I see it, I see a gap when I see one option. And that one option might not be the best option, but it's an option nonetheless. Because whereas before, there was no option. So where did that option come from? And was that option there before all the time? And like Wilson said, the little handbook of mistakes and whatever you've done. Like I said, I got like a little crash site investigation team where I can go back to all the incidents where I messed up and just examine where my head was at. And a lot of the time, it's the decisions I made. And there was that gap. I can see it. I can see that gap. But I just chose not to take it. It's like Will said with the door. I've seen that door all my life. But a lot of the time I just ignored it and went to the door with all the flashing lights and the loud music coming out of it. And that's what I used to draw from. But now I see it's the quiet door, because it's in the quiet that you hear the most loudest things to you. And that's the space I'm in, and just unraveling. Same thing what Mama J's doing now, is like I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just stumbling along, and wherever I end up. And I happen to be here in front of you guys today, and I just feel the feeling that I spoke about at the beginning is thriving in my whole being now. And I just love just showing up and just sharing from this space. Mm-hmm. So Wilson, I've been speaking. Go on.
Yeah, thank you, Derrick. Thank you. Go ahead, Omar or Wilson.
What's the question?
Well, it's more about, so here she is coming into the room with cakes and coffee, and you're in prison. The mindset of whatever it was that got you there, and you're approaching this woman, Mama J, and her team. And what were you thinking? What was going on?
I think I was 24, 25 at the state. Well, yeah, 24, 25. And I know it's very, very hard to imagine, but I was a very bad guy. I was just very loud, cheeky, and noisy, and just messed about. And I just loved to mess about. Like, it was just fun to mess around for me. And it was my first time in prison, so I didn't want to be locked up all day long in my cell, and I just wanted to do everything. So I opted in for every course, and I did like near enough every course. And to me, they were just repetitive, and there's people telling you stuff and what you should do, should not do, and wrongs and rights, and the usual school stuff, and you know. And I've done a lot of probation and things like that. So it's the usual jargon, what not to do, what to do, all that. And then I came across Beyond Recovery, and it was just like, for me, I thought it was the same thing, really. I saw these smiley ladies, and the only difference was they were smiling, which was like, wow, like they want to be here. And for me, that was weird. It was like, why do you want to be here? Why nobody wants to be here? When I go to all these other classes, nobody wants to be here. You know, they're here and they talk. And I think the most people that I saw that wanted to be there was AA, the AA people, the people that came in for them, they wanted to be there. But apart from that, I saw nobody like that, apart from Beyond Recovery lot. And for me as well, like I would come in for the biscuits and the coffee, and then I was off again. And they would have to come and find me because I was just me. I didn't really want to do it that much. But the fact that they came and ran around the wing and looked for me specifically and said, like, come back. I was like, all right, cool. And I came back, and I thank God they done that. But I feel like there was a little spell that Mama J hit me with, which was the curiosity spell. And I'm telling you, because once you're curious about something, right, everything drops away. Everything. Your judgment, your thinking, your true, everything drops away, and you just want to know whatever comes out of the other person's mouth. And you don't care what comes out. It could be upside down, left, right, inside out. You don't care because you have that curiosity. You just want to know. And I feel like all my life I've taken that curiosity for granted. I've never really looked into it, but that curiosity is powerful because you can never, like, you're never open to learn without that curiosity. As soon as you learn something, that curiosity was present. So Mama J came out with this story, right? And straight away it set the curiosity in me. But I can tell you, it wasn't beautiful curiosity. It was more like, I thought I was right, I thought she was wrong curiosity. So I'm like, all right, I know I'm right, but let me let you tell the wrong answer. And that's how I thought it was from my point of view. And when she explained, it kind of washed over me, but the curiosity was still going. It was still going. So I didn't really react to it. And then it took till the next session for it to really get to me about how we create our realities. Because do you mind me telling the story? Just quick.
Please, no, please go ahead.
So sorry. So Mama J, she said she borrowed her son some money, right? And he's meant to pay her back on a certain date. So it comes to that date and he doesn't pay her. And she says she was mad, like she was proper mad at this. So at that moment, she asked everybody that, who made me mad in this situation? So everybody in the room is like, obviously it's your son. Your son made you mad. This is why, because we was making payment plans for her, telling her how to deal with him and stuff. We was telling her all of that. And then somebody finally asked the question, like, wait, like, what is it? And she was like, no, like, do you want me to tell you? And she finally told us, and she said, it was me. And that's where my curiosity set off, when she said it was her. Because I'm like, it's silly. How is it you? You didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? But the way she broke it down and articulated it, it just sat in my curiosity. It didn't go into the intellect. It didn't go anywhere else. It sat in my curiosity. And when it sat there, it allowed me to experiment with it. And I used to class myself as hard-headed, but that only means, well, that's all us humans, isn't it? We have to see something for ourselves to know it, to learn it, and that's actually not hard-headed, but that's what I classed as hard-headed. So I would have to experiment with things to know or to feel it and to know that, wow, that works for me. And I thought about certain situations and I realized that it was only my thinking of the situation that brought on the emotions that I felt of the situation. Because in another hand, if Mama J was a billionaire and she didn't care about it, she wouldn't be upset. Or if she didn't value the contract that they made together, she wouldn't be upset. But because she thought about the contract that they made together and she's expecting the time and the thoughts continue, now it builds up to, okay, you didn't do that. Now the emotions come. But I can see the innocence of me thinking it was just him.
Yeah.
It was his fault. It was all him. It was him. It was him. And when she showed me that, that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship with myself, because I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know about the curiosity. I didn't know about those feelings. I didn't know about experimenting with those feelings. I didn't know anything like that. I thought it was just one set and one way to go. But yeah, go on. I'll stop there.
I have to say, you know, in the principles, often people talk about having their first insight, having that place. So do you think it was curiosity, then seeing your responsibility? How did you see your insight there? Or what would you say is your...
It's very, very, very hard to say
Mm.
because I've been having insights my whole life.
Yes, yeah.
I've literally been having insights my whole life.
Yeah.
So it's like the first one, it blows my mind. I really don't know. But there's lots of key points for me where I feel like I have grown within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like only I could judge that.
Mm-hmm.
But especially with I think the biggest one for me was in prison when I taught myself to read and write. It wasn't a thing I wanted to do or chose to do or planned to do. It was nothing like that. I was strictly a very bad guy. They took my TV away and I wasn't allowed a TV. So when you're banged up, with no TV and it's just you, a couple books, a dictionary and pens apparently I was meant to have ADHD, dyslexia. I wasn't able to do these things apparently.
No.
And that's what I believed for the best of 24 years until I was alone with these things. And I actually found out that day I love reading. I like writing as well, not so much, but I love reading. I actually love reading. And if I'd known that when I was in school, I probably would have been the top of English class. But I thought ADHD, dyslexia, no, I can't do that. But I never experimented with it ever because I took that thought and it was solid to me. But only within those four walls and some paper and pen and some time and some space for myself, I thought, let me just do it. And in that, like in the space of 2 weeks, I taught myself to read and write to a standard level. And I feel like my journey really began there. It's like, what else can I shatter from this, from up here that I have made solid? And it's every time I do it, it's amazing. Every time something drops that I thought was solid is amazing. Like I'm still trying to do it with the spider thing. I'm really scared of spiders and I can't I can't do it with that yet, but I've tried and I keep trying, but it doesn't happen. But
You're telling me you conquered reading and writing, but spiders.
I had to throw that in the mix because it's so beautiful what the mind does. Like whatever I've created around spiders and that, it's not, it's gonna take a while to drop for me. But it's like, it's not the best thing for me is I'm not focusing on dropping that.
Yeah.
So I know one day it feels smoother to me. Even to see a spider now, it doesn't feel as sharp to me, even though I'm still scared of them and I'll still get away, but it doesn't feel as sharp to me and as racy to me now. It's just like, all right, you know what? I can acknowledge I'm scared and go instead of running and jumping and hopping, and if that makes sense. So it is getting better, but
Yeah. No, yeah. Mama J, do you want to come in and share? So here are these two amazing guys that you've met heart to heart. you've had these experiences with, and you know, rather than fast forwarding, maybe you could fill in the gap between, so there you were with them, and there was this unfolding for them, different than, you know, maybe something they've ever had before. And then what happened? What happened for you? What happened? And then now, and then we'll go into where they are, which is just incredible.
It's really, I really love that you've asked that. So we used to leave that prison and giggling and laughing and high and full of love and joy. And we really did get some strange looks. You know, I mean, the other people who work there, the officers and the staff, they'd be like, what have you been doing? Like, what's wrong with you people? We had such amazing times, even when things were difficult. And I would say that we just kept turning up, and we just kept, you know, meeting people like Derrick and Omar, and seeing things unfolding, and we never felt that anybody shouldn't be there. Like, that was the thing, is that there was no criteria. Nobody was banned from class. Nobody was, you know, told that they could. Sometimes we felt a bit grateful when somebody decided that they weren't going to come back. So sometimes we go, but you know, we used to say self-select. It's self-selection. Like, if they're meant to be there, we're divinely matched. If they're meant to be there and they're there, then they're meant to be there, you know, regardless. So we just kept showing up, and we were in that, well, we still are in that prison, you know, COVID allowing, but we had a 2.5-year contract in the end with that prison. We've been there 5 years now, and in all of that time we just kept seeing more and more that absolutely everybody is perfect underneath what we see. Absolutely perfect. And people turned out differently. Like, people, you know, some people, you look at Derrick and Omar and you think how articulate they are, and so on, and Omar has talked about his reading and writing. People's level of English increased year on year, you know, how they could write and how they spoke without any teaching of anything else. It just increased on its own with their well-being.
That's so true.
Just a sec. Farnak, you're on. You're not.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I'll meet you. There you go. There you go.
It is true.
Yeah. Perfect time.
You were right.
Right. I love
So for us, it was, we couldn't believe that we could get paid for doing it. You know, it was like, just why would you want to do anything else? We loved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we just kept doing it. And for me personally, I just feel that you do stay the way. That's true. And I'm a good stay the way person. Like, I will stay the way. But you get to see, I mean, I think it was Derrick that talked about the doors. I can't remember which one, but it was Wilson, right? But you get to see, like, why am I still trying to open this door when this door is open? And eventually you go, well, I'll just go through that door then. And life shows you where it's at. So I just kept doing that, you know, and life was showing me it's still here. And every once in a while I'll say, am I meant to be doing this? It seems really hard, you know, or there's no funding from the government. And, you know, things go wrong, like the prison decides that they're going to spend the money on security lights instead of your well-being classes, and, you know, and so on and so on. And it's like, stuff happens along the way, and you get to go, oh, am I still meant to be here? Like, it seems really hard. And the minute ever I ask that question, somebody will get in touch, or we'll get a letter from one of our guys saying, I may not have changed, but the fact that I want to change is something, isn't it? You know, and so on. Like, we get this beautiful interaction with these beautiful people, and then, you know, oh yeah, life's saying, no, you're still meant to be there. It's just not meant to be easy. And so that's what we kept doing. We just kept following, staying the way.
I love that you said that exact thing, that you asked and internal wisdom said yes, but there was work. There was, you know, not essentially efforting, but there was an understanding that it just doesn't come like, you know, cakes and cookies. You know, there's things to be done, and I'm sure that Derrick and Wilson had work to be done from that point, from the point of meeting and seeing, and having that door, you know, where you had the opportunity to reopen something that's there. So what happened as you connected to them deeper and deeper? And whoever wants to go first, Derrick or Wilson, whoever. What happened for you as you started to see more? Where was the door leading? Or were you banging your head on it?
Do you know what? For me, it's like Mama J said, I've always used that door all my life. And I was there and I was stuck or whatever. And then I've seen that door open and I've realized, hold on, it's been there all the time. Like, why has this thought hadn't occurred to me before? Why hadn't it? And then when you go through it now, you don't know what's on the other side, but you just know the feeling when you're there and on that journey. That's the feeling that's got me in a good space. And that's the feeling that sort of comforts me through, because some of the layers what drop off, I'm not pretty to look at for me. They're things that I would have been ashamed of or said, oh, do you know what? I usually look at that class of people with that sort of judgment, but when that layer falls off, I feel a comfort in it, because I know there's an innocence behind it that was driving my thoughts, what was driving me to think that my thoughts were my reality. But moving forward in a personal life, it's just spread out to like sharing here in this group, just talking about what I've seen and I never thought I could do that. I thought I was the most not boring, but I thought I was the most, nobody wants to hear you, what you got to say. Yeah, it's just, so to find myself in that position after walking through that door, it's like what Wilson said about when he smashed through the reading barrier. It's just like everything else is on the table. That door, when you walk through that door, it's like a million doors multiply behind it again. And it's just your choice to pick one. And it's okay to pick one and don't like it, because when you go through that one, there's a million other doors you can pick again. And you can always go back to the basic, back to the beginning and say, right, let me start from this door and all my options are open again. But just being in that feeling, that's why I started this thing, because when this thing started, the feeling came up on me and I said, how's this feeling coming up? And no one ain't even spoke yet. And I realized it's that same feeling that I trust it now. I trust it. Before, I never used to trust it. But now I've acted on it and I found myself here, found myself in other places, and thought, wow, that's just from trusting a feeling. That kind of blows my intellect away. That doesn't work for my intellect. So my intellect needs answers and it needs to calculations and it needs to know how we're getting there. No, this door just tells you that feeling, lets you know that you're there already. And like Wilson said about the reading thing, the sky is the limit. Anything is possible. Anything is possible right now. And I don't even have to know what it looks like. I'm happy not to know what it looks like. I'm just happy to be in the feeling and just know that something good will come along, or not even nothing good, because a lot of my learning comes from when things are not going good. So when either way, up or down, it's all learning for me. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
I know about anybody else, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling you. And I'm going to come back because I really would love Omar to share, or Wilson to share, and then we'll come back to where you are now, what you've been doing. And because some of these people were not privy to the greater conversation of convention and things. And then I'll go right to Martine. Go ahead, Omar.
I was just going to say, for me, I was always trying to get somewhere. There was always a place to be, if that makes sense. Not even to be, to get to. So it was, for me, it was comfortability, money, comfortability, popularity, and I was always trying to get these things. Even education in school, when I first started school, I wanted to get it. I really wanted to, but because I wasn't getting it, and to me it was a failure not getting it, so I kind of beat myself up with that failure, and I tried to achieve other things, and if I didn't achieve it, I was failing. And I had that narrative of, if I don't get to where I'm trying to, I'm failing. And if I'm failing, I need to do something else to not fail. And there was all these things to do, and I was always trying to get somewhere, and that led me to prison. And I was only going to come out and try and do it again to get to somewhere else and keep doing things to get places. But I kind of realized there's nowhere to get to. Like, we are already here. And the secret, the kind of secret for me, is enjoy every day. Just enjoy that, being in the moment and being present, because that's the only moment we have. And we can still have like goals and trying to be successful and stuff like that, but it's all about the feeling for me. The feeling of chasing something or trying to live up to something and failing, it doesn't feel good. So I just don't put my thoughts there anymore. And I just live moment to moment with the naturalness of just love, peace, and mindfulness. And I feel like that's been my greatest gainer. And another thing that crossed my brain as well earlier that I never realized was, in prison, right? The Beyond Recovery team, for me personally, they treated me so well. When I left prison, they didn't know if they was going to see me again, ever. But the fact that they was just, the feeling I had was just open arms. You know, like if you leave home and you go back in 2 years, you know you can just go back and your room's the same. And it was just like that. It was like, it was a whole year after I came out of prison, and I felt like I needed a recharging. I felt like the batteries were died. Like I needed recharging. So that's when I reached out to Beyond Recovery, and it was just the same open arms I remembered. Come, just straight away, come, get your ass down here, and yeah, like you're back in. But it was before, like the gap between that moment is they never knew that they was gonna see me again, but they still had that love, respect for me, the guidance and everything in prison, giving me books and recommending this person and that person, without knowing that I would be here now today, if that made sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a strategy to get me here. It was just like, we'll treat everybody equal and fair and with love. And it's like, through that process, I'm here. And I feel like I've never really seen that until today, to be honest. I've never really seen that.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. Martine, did we lose you? Where did she go? She had a question for us. Where are you?
Well, maybe you're going to ask the same question, but I was curious, now that you're out and you went back to your community, how did they see the change in you? How that change affected them? And the impact of your well-being had on the other people around you, or maybe your family or something like that. So I'm just curious. So now that you're out, how is life, so to speak?
For me personally, it was hard at first because I used to sell drugs for a very long time, and a lot of my friends are involved in that, and my community was kind of around that. I did have a lot of other friends that was interested in a lot of other things, but my main interest was money, and that was this group. So when I come out, I still kind of communicated with that group because I've known them for 20 years plus. And it was pretty hard. When I first come out, they tried to give me stuff to get me back on, but I didn't take it as a sign of disrespect because that's all they know. And I felt like for me, it was beautiful to see it like that and just to say, no, I'm all right, thank you. but I'm all right. And I tried the preaching stuff and telling them, but it didn't work because they know me already. they know that you're not that guy. Don't do that to me. Don't talk to me like that. Da, 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 da. And to be honest, that's actually not the way I learned it myself. It was that curiosity that I was talking about, the little magic curiosity spell. So it took me a while to understand that, but now, this present day, I've waited for that curiosity bomb to drop on certain people, and it has dropped, and they've asked me certain questions, and we've had conversations, and I've spoke to a lot of people, and I've actually helped a lot of friends. Do you know what I mean? I've gave there was one of my friends, when he came out, he went straight back on the drug dealing and stuff, and he was a bit older than me, and I was just disappointed. But through these principles, I spoke with him, and it took a long time, but now he's got his own business doing removals, and he's got 2 kids, and he's proper doing great. And I feel proud of that because I was able to help talk to him in a way that it's just human, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not an older brother, I'm not anything. I'm just trying to talk to him on a level, and we have a good conversation of understanding. And I don't think I was able to do that before. I think I would have got in my head, and I would have got advice, and I don't really give advice anymore. I just have that conversation, and I feel like that conversation, it allows you to teach yourself things. I feel like that's another thing Beyond Recovery taught me, is that obviously you are the best teacher for yourself. I can't teach you anything. So it allows me to show people that they are good teachers for themselves as well, and they can follow their own wisdom as well. But it's been brilliant for me. Even my family, they've noticed the difference, and it's like I've got better relationships with them, and I've got better relationships with everybody around me.
That's beautiful. Omar, Derrick, do you want to speak to that question? Yeah.
For me, it's slightly different from Omar. I was raised in South London. If anyone knows the geography of London, it's split into 4, north, west, south, and east. And I was raised in South, but at the time of my last arrest, I lived in North London with my family. So all of my friends live in South London. So it's a bit of a journey to get there, and I sort of had to make the conscious decision because I couldn't be traveling over there to see one friend, and all of my friends were basically deeply entrenched in criminal lifestyle. So I couldn't pick one out and say, right, I'm going to see him without seeing a load of the others. And same thing what Omar said, people start to give you things and start to say, no, I'll do it like this time, and no, we're going to do it like this. And I knew I wasn't strong enough. First time I went to prison was 1988, and I hated it. And in 2016, I'm still going back to prison. And I knew that I wasn't strong enough. I had this understanding, I had the principles. I left only in April, I think. And then I was released in August that year. And I never contacted Beyond Recovery until April, the following year. So I was outside, like Omar, my battery was running low. And it's like funny what you said, Omar. I thought my battery was running low on my phone, my computer battery, you know.
New times, new experiences.
Yeah, it felt to me like my battery was running low, and I thought I wanted that feeling again, because that feeling, like I said, was the best feeling in my life. And when I've linked with Beyond Recovery, I've seen that, yeah, I got the feeling, but the feeling was in me all the time, and I just had to learn how to access it. But I sort of knew that to get back to the point, I weren't strong enough to go around all these people, and even not to preach or just to be a bit different. I said, you know, I'm not strong enough. At first, I thought it was a coward move. That's basically all of my friends. And I sat there and I thought, oh, that's a bit of a coward, not even talking to them and telling them what's happening. And then somebody pointed to me, no, that's my wisdom talking to me. That's my wisdom telling me, do you know what, I need to, because at the big, when I first come out, I knew I wasn't strong enough to say I'm not going to accept this offer or do this, but it's given me time to forge a stronger relationship with my family, because all the time I'll be out in South London before, when I should be in my home, spending time with my family, I'll be out running up and down the streets in South London. So it kind of switched the roles for me, and it got me to see my children in a much different light, and them to get to see me. in a much different light as well. And that relationship has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. So people around me see the difference, and I notice that I show up a certain way, it rubs off on it rubs off and it doubles off, and it don't rub off with me watching and waiting to see the effect. It just naturally takes time, and you'll hear it come back to you from all different angles and unknown angles. But you just know that, yeah, that's, and certain times I've seen it and I've said, yeah, that's because I've said that's the way, and they've said, no, nothing to do with you. And I said, all right, do you know what? I don't want no credit for it. It's all yours. You take it. Because it's not about the ego. That's my ego trying to get in. But yeah, since that, I've just come out and tried to stay family life and just live like that. But I know deep in myself now, I could go back into that den in the middle of it right now, and none of that would appeal to me. None of that would be, none of it. I'll be getting on the bus and going home. And I know that deep in myself now.
Sometimes words escape me because I just feel so moved by what underneath the words, what the feeling you're talking about, Derrick, the feeling that I'm feeling that you guys have come into just makes me, it's just a beautiful experience to listen to both of you. And I just, I'm very honored to have you in this room. So I have one last question, but I thought maybe what we could do is just open up the room for a minute and see if anybody has questions, and then if we have time to go break out, we'll break out and we can have a private little room with Derrick, Omar, and Mama J. But does anybody have anything that they'd like to share, something that they might have been hearing or experiencing while they were sharing? Yeah, Vera, please.
I just want to honor you for, especially Omar. Like, I'm just in awe to kind of honor your own change so deeply that you go back into an environment that mirrors your old self back to you all the time. And you don't go like nose up, or you don't go under. You know, you seem to be beaming your beautiful self into your environment. And that is such damn good medicine. And I think this is the hardest thing to do. It's like it's much easier to get divorced, go somewhere else. And that's not easy either. I'm not saying it's easy, but like, I really want to honor you for the path that you're choosing. Bloody hell, I don't think I could do it.
Thank you, Vera. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you. Yeah, I bet you're touching a lot of people.
I hope so. I hope so.
You know, that's a really beautiful thing to say, Vera, and way to look at it. I never thought about it like that. His old self mirrored back, and I just saw then. I think that Wilson is touching more people than any of us know. You know, like he's dealt with many situations that you know, would throw a lot of us off kilt. He's right in that community. He's had his own life situations. And it just occurred to me then, Wilson, that people are seeing that, the way you're dealing with that and the way you're being and the way you're, you know, you keep getting yourself back on track again. And people around you will be seeing that, and you will be influencing, especially the young people that are looking up to you without talking about anything, you know, just by modeling it.
I never thought about that neither.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Does anybody else have something they'd like to share?
I just have a quick question. Are you Omar or are you Wilson? Or are you both?
I'm Omar Wilson, but it's up to you. Everyone, do you know what? A lot of people call me Wilson. A lot of people call me Wilson.
Yeah.
First time I've heard it today. I know you as Omar, so.
So for those of you who'd like to stay, I'd love to put the boys and Mama J into a small room so that you can have maybe a personal dialogue. And for those of you who need to go, if you could do that now and say your goodbyes, then we can have an appropriate number for the rooms. And I'll just do that this way. And I look forward to seeing you next week if you're going to be leaving us. Bye. Bye-bye. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to open up the rooms, and everybody who's still here can join in, and off you go. And I'll just pop in and out. Oh, that was weird. There we go. Does that work? Yeah. Hi, Susan. Hello, Anne-Marie. Now, did you guys end up being, hang on a second. There we go. And then assign to, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Mark, you well?
Yes, I'm great. Thank you. Yeah.
That's good.
Hello.
Kelly, I bounced into room 4 and I was the only one there.
You're on mute, Kelly.
You.
Thank you. Sorry. I was bumped into a room myself. I don't know how that happened. So let me get you there. So,
Came straight out.
okay, Christine, I'm going to put you with Derrick. Hang on, a sign, which is room, where's that? Room. There you go. Did you get it? Okay, and Brenda, where are you, Brenda? Brenda. Well, Brenda, you can have a choice. I'm going to put you with Omar, okay?
That's totally fine. Either one is.
Yeah, I gotta fix him. I gotta find something for him, and
It keeps putting me there. Hang on a second.
Me.
I know, I'm going to get you there. Just a sec.
It's not easy. Breakouts are hard.
There we go. Off you go. Hello, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, I didn't get to, I just popped in and had to leave. Mama J, you're on mute there.
Oh, I said that was lovely.
The conversations get very rich. You almost don't want to close the rooms. And then I think, oh, I have to respect everybody's time and letting people know. And I'm like, oh, just maybe one more minute. So I just have to fully thank everybody for coming. And we'll just wait. It's got a minute left for the rest of them to come back to the room. So we'll do our goodbyes all together. I sometimes, there they come. More and more.
Kelly, can I send you some links because it came up in the conversation? So I want to send you some links to some bits for the peoples.
Yeah, I want to say thank you everybody for staying for the breakouts. I know that there's rich conversation, and Mama J was just sharing that
bye-bye.
links. Hello, ladies. On mute for a sec. So Mama J has some links for all of you if you're interested in the work that Wilson and Derrick and Mama J do, so that you can be connected. Also on the invite for this conversation, you'll notice the links for their websites and the things that Beyond Truth is doing, Beyond Recovery, and some other things where you can listen in. And I just want to thank you all for being here. And to all of you at Beyond Recovery and Beyond Truth, my biggest love. Shedding the light for Canada and for this community has been a plight of mine. And I thank you for coming all the way from across the seas, through the internet to this room at Kind Mind Community. So unmute yourselves, everybody, and say a beautiful goodbye to the boys and Mama J. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Love.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everybody.
Bye, Mark.
All
Thank
right
you,
then.
Derrick.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Kelly.
Kelly. Thank you,
Bye,
Bye,
Kelly.
Brenda. Thank you,
Bye.
Kelly.
Bye,
Bye,
Martin.
Martin.
Bye, Susan.
Bye,
Bye, Philip.
Vera.
Bye.
Bye,
Ilona.
Chris.
Bye,
Bye,
Philip.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Pamela.
Pamela.
Bye,
Bye,
Ilva.
Vera. Mark,
Bye,
I'll be
Mark.
calling you.
Bye, Susan.
Bye,
Bye.
Yes, call Mark. He's very lovely.
Yes.
Bye, Pamela.
Nova.
Bye, Susan.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye,
bye. Nice to
Ilva.
meet you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah.
You're so welcome. I'm glad you stayed, Susan.
Yeah. Me too.
Mark, I would love to share something with you. I'll just stop the recording.